Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. Welcome to this Metta-Date as we will be focusing on metta, which means loving kindness. And that will be part of our meditation in the end of our asana practice. So find a comfortable seat to start. You'll want to have a strap for sure. And you might want to go ahead and make a loop on that strap, adjusting the size of it so that you could fit the ball of one foot into that loop, like a stirrup, and just set it aside. You may also want to have 2 blocks and a blanket. Start to arrive by grounding yourself, maybe propping your pelvis up on a folded blanket or a pillow. So Pema Chodron wrote an article in The Lion's Roar, which is a Buddhist and mindfulness online magazine. And the article is called Nothing to, in parentheses, out of parentheses, prove. So nothing to prove, nothing to improve. And she talks about metta, loving kindness. She says, when we start to meditate or to work with any kind of spiritual discipline, we often think that somehow we're going to improve, which is a subtle aggression against who we really are. It's a bit like saying, if I jog, I'll be a much better person. If I had a nicer house, I'd be a better person. If I could meditate and calm down, I'd be a better person. Or the scenario may be that we find fault with others. We might say, if it weren't for my husband, I'd have a perfect marriage. If it weren't for the fact that my boss and I can't get on, my job would be just great. And if it weren't for my mind, my meditation would be excellent. But loving kindness, or metta, in Pali, which is another language, it is metta, very close to Sanskrit. And in Buddhism, it's called Maitri. In Maitri, or loving kindness, we turn toward ourselves. And it doesn't mean getting rid of anything. Maitri means that we can still be crazy, we can still be angry, we can still be timid or jealous or full of feelings of unworthiness. And meditation practice isn't about trying to throw ourselves away and become something better. It's about befriending who we are already. And so if we come to it with that sense of compassion with ourselves, we are coming from a genuine space of loving kindness. So you might recall, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, we had a practice on befriending. Like, what does befriending mean? Befriending is a mindfulness practice of approaching something with a caring curiosity. So from the spectrum of pleasant to unpleasant to neutral experiences, we bring the same kind of caring curiosity, colored with non-judgment. And that in itself is a big practice. So how can we bring that loving kindness of not having to get rid of anything about ourselves, but accepting what we are today, what our body is right now, and approaching our practice with ourselves, with loving kindness? Maybe join your palms to meet at your heart. And as you feel into your physical body, notice what you're working with today. As you feel into your natural breath, sense your own energetic state, mental and emotional state. Accepting whatever it is right now, just as it is. How might you nurture yourself through this practice today? Maybe saying a personal prayer, a loving intention. And as we fill our own cup, hopefully it's from that place of overflow that we can be that loving presence to the world around us. So call to mind someone else that you might dedicate this practice to, and allow your overflow to ripple into. Let's take a deeper inhale as you ground to your pelvis. Opening the mouth as you sit up a little bit taller. A couple more rounds of just clearing out any stagnant air energy, inviting a fuller inhalation, lifting the heart space, and then setting our intentions by creating resonance through sound. Let's join our voices in 3 chants of Om. Take a deep breath in. Om. Towards your heart, and let's start to cultivate a sustained and balanced breath through the nose, practicing Ujjayi Pranayama, softly whispering the breath by gently narrowing the back of your throat. So listen to that sound for a few rounds here. Bring a balance of focused action or effort with a relaxed state of ease in your breathing. As if you were breathing metta, you were breathing loving kindness into your lungs, into every cell in your body, and breathing it out into the world around you. So keep that sound going, and let's come down onto hands and knees. Set your knees a couple inches behind your hips. Set your wrists on the ground just underneath your shoulders. And let's start a few rounds of Virasana or cat-cow pose. Inhale, glide your chest forward and coil it up. Roll the shoulders back and down, creating a back bend. Exhale, lift the navel, drop your head, round your back. Taking another 3 to 5 cycles of breath on your own. Gently warming up your spine, warming up your shoulders. You might want to make sure that your blocks are framing the top of your mat and that your strap is somewhere near the top of your mat. And on your next exhalation, tuck your toes, lift your hips high and back into downward facing dog. And take a few breaths there. You might like to pedal your feet out, shake and nod your head. Spreading your fingers flat on the earth. Broaden across your shoulders and open up space throughout your neck. Rotating the outer upper arms towards the ground and lifting your shoulders away from your skull. Let's take a few more breaths, holding still in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Set your eyes on one spot, but relax your eyes, balancing effort and ease in your gaze. Now, after you finish this exhalation, walk up to the front of your mat into a forward fold Uttanasana. Feet hips width apart, parallel. Press your fingertips either onto blocks in front of your feet or the ground ahead. And as you breathe in, firming the belly in, reach your chest through your upper arms, coming into a flat back. Then exhale, bow over your legs. Sweep your arms forward. Inhale, rise to stand and drop your shoulders behind you, lifting your chest into a small back bend. Exhale, bring your palms in prayer in front of your hearts. Let's move to the sound of your breath in Surya Namaskar C, Sun Salutation C. Take a deep inhale and sweep your arms forward. Roll your shoulders back, coil your chest up. Exhale, feel free to bend your knees as you bow with a flat back. Place your hands outside your feet. Inhale, step your left knee behind you. Look up, kneeling lunge. As you hold your breath, step into your plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin, hugging the elbows to your ribs. Inhale, slither your belly onto the floor in cobra. Roll your shoulders back. Exhale, tuck your toes and lift your hips back to downward dog. Inhale, step your left foot beside your left thumb. Lower your back knee and look up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and fold. Inhale, sweep your arms forward. Rise to stand in a gentle back bend. Exhale, bring your hands to meet at your heart in Padasana. Let's take one more round. Inhale your arms forward. Roll your shoulders back and down. Exhale, fold. Place your hands outside your feet. Inhale, step your right knee back and look up. Holding your breath, step into plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, chest and chin. Inhale, slide to the ground in cobra pose, dropping your shoulders back. Exhale, lift your hips to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb. Lower your back knee and look up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, dropping your shoulders, rise tall. Exhale your hands to your heart. Let's begin Surya Namaskar A, Sun Salutation A. Inhale, sweep your arms apart, circle them overhead, palms touch. Exhale, bow over your legs. Press your fingertips on the floor, your blocks. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Step into plank pose as you exhale, gliding forward, bending your elbows to hug your ribs in Chaturanga, and either inhaling to Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Let's pause there for 3 deep breaths. Bend your knees, empty this breath, then walk or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, press with your fingertips, raise your heart forward into a flat back. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, circle your arms and rise all the way up into Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale your hands to meet at your heart. 2 more cycles as we're warming up. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Either walk to plank and lower or float gently into Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale into Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Then pause, center on your breath for 3 cycles. On your 3rd inhalation, bend your knees and look past your hands. Empty your breath first, then walk or float to the top of your mat. There, inhale, rise forward, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, palms touch overhead. Exhale to your heart center. Once more, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sweep your arms. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Walk or float back. Continue your vinyasa. Downward dog, let's take 3 breaths. Set your eyes on one spot. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, bend the right knee and tap the outside of your right upper arm. Step your right foot outside of your right hand so it's closer to the right edge of your mat. And then pause here You're gonna take that strap that you made a loop out of. You might have to come out of your lunge for a moment to put it on. You're gonna step the ball of your left foot into that strap. And then let the tail end of the strap come forward towards the front of your mat, close to the right corner of your mat. So wearing that loop of the strap around the ball of your left foot, the tail of the strap next to your right foot, come back to that lizard lunge. So the right foot is to the right of your right hand. And then notice if it might be helpful here to prop your hands onto blocks, allowing your shoulders to rest further down, giving your neck space. Now keep your right foot flat on the floor in this variation. Keep your right knee directly above your right heel, pointing forward. And then let's scoot the left knee another inch or two back. Begin to bend your left knee, lifting the heel towards your glute. Backstroke your right arm. So we're gonna open the front of your right shoulder by doing that. Find the strap with your right hand and walk your right hand down the strap as close to your left foot as you comfortably can, with your right palm facing up. So right palm facing up allows the inner right shoulder to open up. And then decide here, as we take another 5 breaths, if you want to stay on your left hand, you want to come down onto your left forearm. Practicing loving kindness as you listen to your body guiding you through the sensations you're feeling. Deep breaths. See that the sole of your right foot is completely on the earth here. This variation, you're hugging the right outer hip towards you and gently scissoring it back towards the rear of your mat. Let's take one more deep breath. All right, then from here, keep the strap on your left ball of the foot and step the right knee back. Come all the way down to your belly. Into Sphinx pose. In Sphinx pose, scoot your knees as close together as you can as you place your elbows in the ground, lifting your chest. Drop your shoulders back and down. Then cross your right forearm in front of your chest and bend your left knee. Backstroke your left arm this time and catch hold of the strap again with your left palm face up. Same thing. You want to find that external rotation of your left upper arm at the shoulder. Then have your knees no wider apart than your hips distance as you gently bring the left heel slightly to the outside of your left hip. Now, you might find that you can catch hold of the big toe side of your left foot and not have to hold the strap. See what's available. Let's take another 4 breaths. Turning your chest completely to face the front of your mat. Relax the tops of your shoulders down. With each inhalation, allow your collarbones to broaden from the sternum at the middle of your chest out to each shoulder head as you draw the shoulder heads behind you and down. A lot of quadricep and hip flexors right now. One more deep breath. Now go ahead and remove that strap from the ball of your left foot. And while we're down here, to make it easier for the next side, let's go ahead and step the ball of your right foot into the loop of that strap. Let the tail of the strap come all the way forward towards the top of your mat and tuck your toes. Lift your hips to downward facing dog. With your right foot in the strap, let's take a few breaths. Sense anything you're feeling, especially in your left and right hips. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, tap the left knee outside your left upper arm, shifting to plank. Then gently step your left foot forward outside of your left hand, closer to the left edge of your mat. Set your right knee down. Notice if it might be helpful here to place your hands on blocks. perhaps to relieve the shoulders of any tension. Keep the sole of your left foot entirely on the floor, your left knee directly above the left heel, facing forward. Now, bend your right knee, scoot it back another inch or two so that you're not leaning your right kneecap on the floor, you're leaning your right thigh on the floor, just above the kneecap. Let that strap come close to your left foot, and then backstroke your left arm. Find the strap with your left palm, and turn your left palm to face up. Here for another 4 breaths or so. See if it might be available to come down onto your right forearm. As you breathe mindfully, keeping the sole of your left foot completely on the earth. Hug your left knee close to you and gently scissor your left outer hip back towards the rear of your mat. One more deep breath here. Now keep the strap on the ball of your right foot and please step back to your version of plank pose. From your plank pose, exhale, shift forward through Chaturanga, come all the way down to Sphinx again. Place your elbows on the ground, lifting your chest, and scoot your knees as close together as you can. Then cross your left forearm in front of your chest and backstroke your right arm. With your right palm face up, take hold of the strap as you bend your right knee, walking your right hand as close to your right foot as you can. You can either continue to hold the strap or catch hold of the big toe side of your right ankle or foot. Have your knees no wider apart than hips distance and root both of your frontal hip bones as you turn your chest completely to face forward. A few more breaths, bringing your right heel slightly to the outside of your right hip. Peel the fronts of your shoulders back and down. Eyes soft, breath full and easy. This time, let's go ahead and remove the strap from the ball of your right foot. Set the strap aside. Place your hands alongside your floating ribs, tuck your toes. With an exhale, press up to your version of plank. Then lift your hips to downward facing dog. Bring your feet together to touch this time. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, rotate the thigh from the hip. Inhale, draw your left outer hip back. Exhale, bend your right knee towards your nose, stepping the right foot directly between your hands. Entering Warrior Two, spin the back heel down, align the front heel to the arch of your back foot, and cartwheel your arms to rise. Right away, steady your gaze just past your right hand as we take 5 full breaths here in Virabhadrasana 2. Just like you did in Lizard Lunge with your front leg, hug your right outer hip towards you. Balance that off by pressing the top of your left thigh bone back. Triangle pose, straighten your right leg. You might prefer to slightly shorten your stance, like 2 inches less. Glide your hips towards the back wall, reach your right hand towards the front wall, then place it down onto the right side of your right shin, on a block or on the floor. Firm your right arm and right leg against each other as you look up towards your left thumb, if it feels okay on your neck. Spiral your chest slightly towards the sky. Let's take another 4 breaths in Trikonasana, triangle pose. Take a look at your right foot. Cartwheel your 2 hands to frame it and step back to plank, optional vinyasa or cat-cow. Let's meet in downward facing dog. In downward dog, step your feet together so they touch. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee and turn out your left thigh at the hip. Inhale, tack your right outer hip back. Exhale, bend your left knee towards your nose, rounding into plank. Step the foot right between your hands, spin the back heel down, align front heel to arch a back foot, then cartwheel your arms and right away arrive with intention in your Virabhadrasana 2. Left outer hip hugging in, top of the right thigh bone firming back, steady gaze just past the left hand. One more deep breath here. Straighten your left leg, perhaps shorten your stance a couple inches for triangle. Sweep your hips towards the back wall, reach the left hand towards the front wall, then place your left fingertips to the left side of your left shin, on a block or on the floor, hugging your left arm and left shin against each other as you spiral your chest towards the sky. Tune into your breathing, Trikonasana. Look down at your left foot. This time, place your hands at the top of your mat and step forward to fold. Let your feet come together to touch, preparing for chair pose, which will be part of Sun Salutation B. Moving to the breath, here we go. Bend your knees together, inhale, sit low, shift your weight towards your heels and raise your arms in chair pose. Exhale, bow from your hips over your legs. Press the ground of your blocks, inhale, raise your heart forward. Step to plank or lightly jump to chaturanga. Take your vinyasa from here. Then let's meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you, turning your right hip to face the ground. Exhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb, keeping your feet hips width apart. Drop the back heel. Inhale, rise up into Virabhadrasana 1. Warrior 1. With an exhale, lower from plank, down into your vinyasa. All the way through to downward dog. Side 2. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, step the foot beside your left thumb so your feet are hips width apart as you drop the back heel. Inhale, rise facing forward to Warrior 1. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. In downward dog, let's listen in for 3 breaths. Once you've emptied the 3rd breath, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat with feet touching there. Forward fold. Inhale, press with your fingertips, lift your chest forward. Exhale, bow over your legs. Inhale, bend your knees together, sit back towards your heels in chair. Exhale, rise up to mountain pose. So let's flow a little slower as we add on. Inhale to chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. Walk or float, take your vinyasa, or meet us straight in downward dog. Now, as you're down here, spot where your strap is and make sure it's reachable distance from where you are now. Then inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, step the foot beside your right thumb. Back to Warrior 1, spin the back heel down, feet are hips width apart. but keep your hands down for a moment, and let's bring more attention to our feet and legs. Scissor your right outer hip back. Press your left outer heel firmly into the floor. Completely straighten your left leg and spiral the inseam of your left leg towards your back wall, towards the ceiling. Now grab the strap while you're here and start to raise your arms alongside you, fingertips pointing back, palms face down. Activate your belly and hover it 2 inches off of your right thigh as you look just past the front of your mat to broaden your chest, soften your shoulders down your back. Breathe. Feel the strength of navel drawing in towards spine and that energetic scissoring action of your legs to keep your hips facing forward evenly. Last few breaths, you might raise your arms overhead. If your lower back feels okay with it, adding more rigor. If the arms are overhead, wrap your triceps towards the floor, keeping your shoulders broad, and draw your shoulders down your back. One more breath. This posture is called Degasana. Start to lift your frontal hip bones so the torso comes upright into Virabhadrasana. 1. Take the strap in your left hand. As you raise your left hand, dangle the strap behind your back. Rotate your left tricep forward and bring the left elbow behind your head. Reaching your right hand behind you underneath, grab the other end of the strap and walk your hands as close together as you can. You might clasp your hands and let go of the strap. Bring your attention back to your feet, rooting evenly, back to your legs, squaring the hips forward. Then lift your frontal hip bones and continue to anchor your tailbone downward as you lift up through your crown, softening your shoulders down. Taking a few more breaths here. Picture the area right under your shoulder blades. Ladies, that's where the bra strap would be, and start to tilt your chest upwards from there, creating a back bend. 3 more breaths. As you're creating your back bend, keep the bend of your front knee right over the ankle. Hug the bottom of your front ribs towards your back body. Then from here, bring your left arm behind your back and either catch hold of opposite elbows to continue broadening your chest, or bring your hands into reverse prayer, fingertips pointing up. Start to look forward of your mat, tilting your torso, lift your left heel. Spiral your inner left thigh towards the back of the room and start to shift forward entirely on your right leg in Warrior 3. Flexing your left foot, lift your belly towards your back. Feel that sense of a flat back as you scissor your right outer hip back. Same actions in the legs as Warrior 1. Let's take another 3 breaths. Slowly bend your left knee in front of you as you flex the foot. Rise to stand on your right foot. Take a breath here, standing tall. And then exhale, place the left foot on the ground. Mountain pose, join your hands in front of your heart. Turning out your right thigh at the hip. Let's take a pause in tree pose. Hug the sole of your right foot inside of your left ankle, calf, or thigh. Roll your right sitting bone downward towards your inner left heel. As you feel the 4 corners of your left foot press into the earth, rebound that feeling of rising up through your center line. Maybe raise your arms. Let's take 3 last breaths in Vrikshasana, tree pose. And then bring your hands to meet at your heart. Step your right foot next to the left. And take a couple deep breaths. Notice what's present for you right now. With slow, steady breathing, inhale, bend your knees together in chair pose. Exhale, bow forward. Step or float back if you'd like to take a vinyasa. Otherwise, meet us in downward facing dog. In downward dog, inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Keep your left outer hip facing the ground. Exhale, step the left foot beside your left thumb so your feet are hips width apart as you drop the right heel. Pick your strap, bring your arms down by your sides with palms face down. Imagine you're scissoring your legs without visibly moving them, and start to hover your belly 2 inches off of your left thigh. As you press your right outer heel into the ground, straighten your right leg and spin the inseam of your right leg towards the back wall and ceiling. Last few breaths in Degasana, you might opt to bring the arms overhead if you're looking for more rigor. Rolling the triceps towards the floor and drawing the shoulder blades down your back. Find ease in your breath, ease in your eyes. 2 more breaths. Begin to lift your frontal hip bones, turning your tailbone downward. Come to rise and Virabhadrasana 1. Take the strap in your right hand, raise your right hand, dangle the strap behind you. Rotate your right tricep forward, bring the right elbow behind your head. Reach your left hand underneath to grab the other end of the strap, walking your hands as close together as you can. Maybe they clasp and you let go of the strap. Bring your attention back to how you're rooting into the earth. Bend the front knee right over the heel. Spiral the inseam of the right thigh towards the back wall. Now as you soften in your bottom front ribs, lift your rib cage, draw the tailbone down, and right under your scapula, right under your shoulder blades, visualize your back bending, tilting your chest up. 3 more breaths. Bring your right arm behind your back, holding opposite elbows behind you, or reverse prayer, palm to palm, fingertips pointing up. Hug in the belly, tilt your torso forward, through Degasana, shift forward, and flex your right foot off the floor into Warrior 3. Bring those same actions in Warrior 1 of spiraling the inseam of your right leg now towards the ceiling. Turning your right hip to face the ground, scissor the left hip back. Draw your crown forward and hug in your front ribs. 3 more breaths. Start to bend your right knee in front of you, rising to stand on your left leg. Flex the right foot. Take a breath, stand tall. Then exhale the right foot next to the left. Bring your hands together in prayer at your heart and shift your weight onto your right foot for tree pose. Turning out your left thigh at the hip. Hug the sole of your left foot against your inner right ankle, calf, or thigh. Roll your left sitting bone downward towards your inner right heel. Press into the earth, rebound the lift up to your crown. About 3 more deep breaths here in Vrikshasana. And as you're ready, back to Padasana. That's hands in prayer in mountain pose. Perhaps close your eyes, take 3 full breaths. Sense what's here now. Let's find our strap again. Place your 2 blocks at the top of your mat on their tallest height. Stand about a foot behind those blocks and step the ball of your right foot into the loop of the strap. Holding the strap in your right hand, turn your right palm to face up, bending your right elbow against your right hip. Place your left hand on your left hip as you stand in mountain pose, feeling your 2 frontal hip bones evenly facing forward, which means that your hips are squared. Keep using that as reference. Feel your tailbone like a heavy anchor, seeking the space down between your knees. Keep that action going. Start to bend your right knee to hug your left knee. Right away, flexing your right foot as though it were kicking the strap away as you pull the strap taut. Walk your right hand down the strap as close to your right foot as you can and start to play a loving kindness tug of war with your right foot and right hand. So as they play with each other, use those counter forces to keep your heart space buoyant and lifted. Keep turning your right hip to face forward, and the more you kick the right foot back and pull with the right hand, find that back bend right under your shoulder blades and begin to raise your left arm. You're now in standing bow pose, also called dancer pose, Natarajasana in Sanskrit. Now you can stay here, you can start to bend your right elbow forward as if your right arm was putting on a backpack strap, that rotation of the shoulder. You could also hold the strap with two hands if you've done that, so that the elbows are no wider than shoulders distance apart. Feel the strength of your right leg kicking as your hands pull the strap. Lifting your heart. Let's take 3 last breaths here. Gently, without slingshotting the right leg, step the right foot down, remove the strap, come to stand with the feet hips width apart, bend your knees, and fold forward. Take a moment to press into the blocks in front of you. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. The left hand down, raise the right arm. Exhale, turn your chest to the right into a spinal twist. Take a few breaths. Reach up to your right fingertips. Slide the shoulders away from your neck. Take one more full breath. Then exhale the right hand down to the second block. Inhale, lift your heart through your upper arms, flat back, hug in the front ribs. Exhale, fold over your legs. Right here, step the ball of your left foot into the loop of the strap. Hold the strap in your left hand and bring your hands to your hips. Lead with your chest. Inhale, rise to stand. Bring your feet together to touch in mountain pose. Turn your left palm to face up with your left elbow bent towards your left hip. Anchor your tailbone downward towards the space between your knees. Keep your 2 frontal hip bones evenly facing forward. Steady your eyes and breath and bend your left knee to hug close to your right knee. Right away, playing that loving kindness tug of war between your left foot and the strap. As you're kicking the left foot back, find the lift of your chest, back bending from right under your shoulder blades as you walk the left hand down the strap as close to your left foot as possible. Raising the right arm, keep turning the left outer hip to face forward. You might begin to bend the left elbow to face the front of your room as if you're putting on a backpack strap on the left shoulder. You might hold the strap with 2 hands. If so, bend both elbows no wider apart than shoulders distance. Breathe. Continue to square your hips forward. Continue to draw your tailbone towards your inner right knee. Last 3 breaths. Without slingshotting your left leg, gently release your left foot to the floor. Separate your feet, hips distance, bend your knees, and exhale to a forward fold. Remove the strap from the ball of your left foot and place your fingertips on your blocks. Inhale, rise forward to a flat back. Keep your right hand down, your hips squared. Exhale, raise your left arm and twist to your left. Few deep breaths. Draw your shoulder blades down your back as you reach the crown of your head forward. Feel the reach up to your left fingertips as you breathe into your entire wingspan. One more deep breath. Exhale the left hand on the second block. And let's step the feet apart wider than hips distance, preparing for a variation of Malasana, which is a squat. Rotate your thighs outward from your hips. Make sure your knees are pointing out in the same degree as your middle toes. Either stack your blocks and make a stool to sit on, or hover your pelvis off the floor. Then use your arms to splay open your inner thighs, joining your hands in prayer at your sternum. Feel your tailbone and soles reaching towards the center of the earth. Feel your heart and your crown rising towards the vast sky. 3 more deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Balanced. And then from here, place your hands on the floor. Please step back to downward facing dog. Let's prepare for single pigeon pose. Turning out your right thigh at the hip, cross your right shin in front of your pelvis, sitting down on your mat with your left leg straight behind you and your left toes tucked to start. Place your hands alongside your hips and lifting your pelvis off the floor, scissor your right hip back. Bring your left outer hip forward, again squaring your hips to face forward. Notice if it might be helpful here to place a folded blanket under your right glute, if there's space between it and the floor. Now, if your right shin is paralleling the front edge of your mat here, make sure to flex your right foot to help stabilize your right knee. From here are some variations you could explore. Relaxing the back toes, you could bow forward, maybe resting on blocks. You could stay lifted and opt for another similar pose to standing bow, which is king pigeon pose, back stroking the left arm and catching your left ankle or foot. Raising the right arm, you might hook the top of the left foot into the crook of your left elbow and perhaps clasp the hands behind your head, sometimes called mermaid pose. If you did standing bow, you could hold on to the top of your left foot, flipping the left palm to face up. Perhaps both hands holding the left foot with the elbows facing forward, no wider than shoulders distance. So whatever variation of your single pigeon pose, let's take another 5 deep breaths. Start to ease your way back to downward facing dog, in which you might like to lift your right leg and give it some movement at the hip to encourage blood flow there. There's an option to flip it over and come into wild thing, in which you step the ball of your right foot outside the left edge of your mat, bending your right knee, straightening your left leg as you lift the pelvis and drop the head back. Let's take a lion's breath, whatever posture you're in now. Deeply inhale to your nose, open your mouth and eyes wide, stick out your tongue, let it go. And then back to downward facing dog. From there, turn out your left thigh at the hip and cross your left shin in front of your pelvis onto your mat as you come to sit, with right leg straight behind you and toes tucked. Place your hands alongside your hips and take a moment to scissor your left hip back to bring your right hip forward, maybe placing a prop under your left glute. If your left shin is parallel to the front edge of your mat, make sure to flex your left foot, stabilize the knee. And then perhaps explore the same variation you did on the first side, noticing what degree is available. Folding forward, maybe resting on blocks as you relax the right toes. King pigeon or Ekapada Rajakapotasana, bending the right knee, back stroking the right arm. I didn't mention this on the first side, but you could also loop the ball of your right foot into the strap and hold on to the strap. Check in with your breathing, whatever version of this posture you're in. Let's take another 5 deep breaths. And then ease your way back to one last Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, in which you might raise your left leg, give it some movement at the hip. Or if you did so on the first side, you might flip it over into Wild Thing, stepping the ball of your left foot outside the right edge of your mat. Bending the left knee as you land the ball of the left foot on the floor, right leg straight, pelvis high, dropping the head back. And let's take one more lion's breath. Take a full inhale through the nose. Open your mouth and eyes wide. Stick out your tongue. Exhale any sound. Ah. And let's make our way into child's pose. Landing there for just a few breaths. Slowly roll your torso upright and slide your legs straight in front of you for stick pose, Dandasana. You might prop your pelvis on a folded blanket as we prepare for a seated forward fold, just allowing your spine to be as upright and tall as possible. And you might opt to use a strap around the balls of your feet. Separate your feet hips width apart. Flex your feet against the strap, firming the front muscles of your thighs to support your hamstrings. Drop your shoulders back and lift up to your crown. Feel the openness at your throat and take a deep breath in. Hug in the belly and front ribs. Exhale, begin to hinge from your hips just a little bit. Breathe in, press down with your pelvis, stretch through your spine. Breathe out, perhaps fold a little more. Keep going, about 5 more breaths. Now in place of the strap, you might clasp your big toes, bending the elbows apart. Whatever version, see if you can integrate a small back bend within this forward fold. Rolling the shoulder heads back and down and slightly lifting your sternum. Paschimottanasana. As you continue to firm your belly in, start to lift your sternum. Inhale, slowly rise up. Let's put the strap aside. You may want to have a block beside the rear of your mat. Please come down onto your back. Bend your knees into your chest and cross the right thigh over the left thigh. Crisscross, so your knees might stack down your midline. Supine cow face pose. Catch hold of your outer feet, outer shins, or the backs of your thighs. Ground your tailbone, shoulders, and head. And as you splay your feet wider apart, see if you might be able to bring your thighs closer to your belly. Breathe in. Take a longer breath out. A few more. Supta Gomukhasana. Now, as you prepare for a spinal twist, you might want to keep the crisscross of your legs. That will definitely make it more intense. If you don't need a more intense spinal twist, bend your knees together without crossing the legs. Scoot your pelvis maybe another 4 inches towards the right edge of your mat. Slide your right arm straight out to the right and ground that shoulder, maybe look towards it. Pick up your feet and slowly twist to your left side, little by little. While rolling your right outer hip forward, so it gently tilts away from your torso and towards the front edge of your mat. 3 more breaths. Slowly roll onto your back again. Bring your pelvis to the midline of your spine as you uncross the legs. Cross the left thigh over the right. Pick up your feet and hug your knees towards your midline. Catch hold of your outer feet or outer shins or the backs of your thighs. Keep your tailbone, head, and shoulders grounded. Gently splay your feet wider apart as you draw your thighs closer to your chest. Exhale slower than you inhale to invite your mind body to more deeply relax. One more deep breath here in Supta Gomukhasana, supine cow face pose. Now, prepare for your twist as you did it on the first side. Crisscross the legs or uncross them. Scoot your pelvis closer to the left edge of your mat. Slide your left arm out to the left, grounding the shoulder, maybe turn your head towards it. Pick up your feet and begin to twist to your right. Roll your left outer hip forward, gently tilting it towards the front edge of your mat. Let's take 3 last breaths here. Coming back onto your back, uncross your legs. And for one last minute, choose a cooling inversion before we go into Shavasana. And you might place the block under your sacrum and lift your legs straight up for a few breaths in supported shoulder stand. You might come into happy baby or straddle your legs wide apart. Take a few last deep inhalations into your belly, filling up the abdomen. And as you breathe out through the mouth, slower exhalations, inviting the belly to soften with your breath out. Abdominal breathing also helps to relax the nervous system as well as stimulate digestion. Taking your time, begin to transition to lowering your body completely on the ground. Feel free to use any props as you set up for corpse pose. Finding a position to rest your body in stillness. Closing your eyes, and once there, perhaps taking one more deeply clearing exhalation through the mouth. And for the next few minutes, embracing stillness. Shavasana. To move from aggression to unconditional loving kindness can seem like a daunting task, but we start with what's familiar. The instruction for cultivating limitless Maitri or Metta is to first find the tenderness that we already have. We touch in with our gratitude or appreciation, our current ability to feel goodwill. In a very non-theoretical way, we contact the soft spot of bodhicitta, which means an awakened mind. Whether we find it in the tenderness of feeling love or the vulnerability of feeling lonely is immaterial. If we look for that soft, unguarded place, we can always find it. Sensing your physical body, your breath, your inner being. Continue to listen inward and notice what shifts. Begin to move your body gently, starting with small parts like turning your head, wiggling your fingers and toes. Gradually ease into a stretch, just feeling into how your body wants to move. As you go at your own pace, start to find your way up, positioning your body in a comfortable seat for our last 5 minutes in meditation. So this is a guided practice of metta, loving kindness meditation. It's a mindfulness meditation practice. And this is a version drawn from Pema Chodron's book called Comfortable with Uncertainty, 108 Teachings on Cultivating Fearlessness and Compassion. So as you begin in an upright, comfortable seat, place your hands in a mudra that helps you to be aware. Begin by sensing that your body is breathing without controlling your breathing. Then choose a phrase of loving kindness, something that you may have been cultivating through the intention that you set in your practice. For example, peace, happiness, feeling loved. So whatever goodwill you would like to receive, start with that. Awakening loving kindness for yourself, you might use some phrase like this: may I enjoy peace. May I feel happiness. May I feel loved. Add your own words of goodwill. Then we awaken it for someone for whom you spontaneously feel unequivocal goodwill and tenderness, such as your mother or your child or your spouse or your dog. Call to mind someone that it's easy for you to feel love for. And direct those words of loving kindness to them. May you feel happiness. May you feel peace. May you feel loved. And then we awaken loving kindness for someone slightly more distant, such as a friend or neighbor, saying their name and aspiring for their well-being using the same words of goodwill. As you see that person, may you feel happiness. May you feel peace. May you feel loved. And then we awaken loving kindness for someone about whom you feel neutral or indifferent. Perhaps someone that you see now and then, maybe you say hi to, like the post person, the mail person, or someone at the grocery store. And as you picture them, gift them the same words. May you feel happiness. May you feel peace. May you feel loved. And then we awaken loving kindness for someone that you might find difficult or even offensive. Call to mind someone that you may have recently had a conflict with. And reach deeply into your own heart to gift them this phrase. May you feel happiness. May you feel peace. May you feel loved. And then let the loving kindness grow big enough to include all the beings in the 5 steps before. So this step is called dissolving the barriers. May I, my beloved, my friend, the neutral person, the difficult person, all together enjoy happiness. May we all enjoy peace. May we all feel loved. And then we go further, extending loving kindness toward all beings throughout the universe. You can start close to home and widen the circle even bigger. May all beings feel happiness. May all beings feel peace. May all beings feel loved. And at the end of this practice, drop the words, drop the wishes, and simply come back to the non-conceptual simplicity of sitting meditation. Sense what you feel in your heart center now, or anywhere. Perhaps join your palms to meet at your heart as we close this practice. Together, chanting one last Om. Remember whom you dedicated this practice to as well. Take a deep breath in. Om.